Hello, I'm Semily Sherry, and in this video I want to have a chat about what I believe is the soul journey. How does our soul begin and what happens to us as we progress through life, or lives as I believe. The first thing to say is that what I'm going to talk to you about today is my experience that I've gathered so far. It's my personal experience and experience that I've had through working with clients in a healing and psychic reading environment. So it's constantly evolving, and I certainly know that the picture I have of the soul and the soul journey now is very different from the one I had a few years ago, and very probably it's going to be very different again in a few weeks time, maybe, never mind a few years time. So I'm not saying this is perfectly accurate or it's perfectly right. This is my experience and what I've learned through my clients, and it's very likely to evolve as well. So this is what I know as of now, and this is what I've experienced. So I believe that in the beginning we are all part of one and the same thing. You may call it God or Goddess, you may call it Source, but we are all part of one being, the prime being. And at some point that being, God, Goddess, Source, decided that it wanted to learn about itself, it wanted to know about itself. And therefore, to do that, it had to be able to look at itself. And so it split off into lots of different parts. And at one point, that was you, your soul, individuated from Source or God as your soul. And you began to learn so that you could reflect and feed back those experiences to Source so that it could learn about itself. And then at some point you decided you wanted to incarnate here on Earth, to have a lifetime here on Earth, because Earth is one of the best learning environments there is. It's one of the most difficult and the most challenging, and therefore it's one of the best places to learn. And I believe that when we come to Earth, we don't come here once, we come here many, many times. It's called reincarnation. We have many lives here. And what happens is when you're still part of Source, you have a team of spiritual supporters or helpers that are with you, and you decide when you come to Earth what it is that you want to learn, what it is that you want to reflect back to Source from this lifetime. Usually there's only one, maybe two major lessons that you're working on at the time. For example, it could be love, it could be trust, it could be faith, something like that. So you discuss with your spirit helpers what it is that you want to focus on, what it is you want to learn, and then you actually choose the environment that you come into. So you choose certain parameters like the location, the geographic location, you choose your parents, you choose your personality to some extent, the physical body that you're going to come into that can best facilitate those lessons that you want to learn. And then once you've got that all set up into place, you can come down and be part of the planet. Now, because as a spirit, you obviously resonate at a very high frequency. Coming down into physical matter, being born into a body on Earth, means you have to lower your vibration considerably. So what happens is not all of that great you that is spirit can enter a body. So part of you comes down from up there, comes down, or wherever that is. I don't actually know whether it is up there, but part of your spirit comes down and incarnates into your body, and that's what's called your soul. Part of your spirit remains connected to Source and as part of Source, and that's what I would call your higher self. It's the part of you that remains connected to spirit at all times, and it has access to that wonderful information from spirit at all times. So your soul then incarnates into your body, and you experience life as a human being. What happens, because you have to leave part of yourself behind, your higher self remains in spirit. You obviously forget. You forget that you chose this wonderful life that you're living, no matter how challenging and difficult it is. You forget that you're this wondrous spirit. And for some people it can be very traumatic. You feel alone, you feel abandoned, you feel like you can't achieve what it is you want to achieve. And so the main lesson that everyone has to learn as a soul on Earth is to remember who they really are, this wondrous, eternal, unlimited spirit that can achieve anything it wants. And also, you're then also learning through your experiences, whatever lesson it is that you've chosen. You live your life, and then hopefully you're remembering as you go along, reconnecting to the being that you really are. When you die, if there are issues that you haven't resolved as a soul, if there are spiritual lessons that you have not properly worked through or processed, you take those with you. Obviously, when you go back to the world of spirit, you are pure again, you are free again, and you are met again by your helpers and your guides, and you talk through, you have a review, if you like, of the life that you just led. You talk about whether you achieved what it is that you wanted to achieve, whether there's something that needs to be worked on a little bit more, and what you want to do next time round. But obviously, depending on what happened to you in this lifetime, you might need quite a long rest. You get healing, you get a time of recuperation, a time to enjoy being back reunited with spirit. And then eventually, at some point, you will choose to come back into life again. And again, there's that meeting where you decide what it is you want to learn. And you come back down to earth. And it's important to remember that what I said before, if in previous lifetimes you had unresolved issues, what happens when you incarnate back into a body is those issues are brought back with you. They unfold again, if you like. And certain events in that current incarnation can then spark off those past issues, which is why sometimes something happens and you have no kind of context for it in this life. You think, well, why am I responding to that so strongly? It's because it's a soul wound or a soul issue from a previous lifetime. But hopefully, eventually, after leading many, many lives, and I don't know, I guess it's not the same for anybody, but in my experience, people have had several lives. I don't know how many there are exactly, but I can certainly recall several lifetimes on this planet Earth. Eventually, when you've worked through every issue there is and you've had every experience of being human there is, I believe that time when you leave your body and return to spirit, you can choose not to incarnate again on Earth. You can choose to go anywhere else in the universe. I actually do believe there is life in the universe. It's not exactly as we would know it or imagine it, but I think there are other living planets, and you can go and choose to have a lifetime on another planet or another galaxy in the universe, or you can even choose to be a spirit guide for someone who is now on Earth. You always continue to learn and evolve, always in spirit, even when you're not incarnated in a physical body. You continue to learn, you continue to evolve. And that's what it's all about, I think. I think it's about learning, it's about reflecting back to source what you learn, and understanding ultimately and remembering that you are a part of source. You are this amazing being who's capable of doing anything. We've just forgotten that, that's all. We limit ourselves so much. And what's particularly exciting about this time, I think, post 2012, is I think now some of the veils have disappeared, some of the limitations have disappeared, and we are able to see and know and understand so much more about ourselves as spirit. We can access other dimensions much more easily. We can resolve this karma, these unresolved issues that we've carried forward maybe over many lifetimes. It's now easier to let go of. This year in particular, 2013, we're in now, is definitely one of redefining yourself, reassessing yourself in this much wider, much more limitless environment that we've always had, but for some reason, whether it's something about the magnetic atmosphere around the Earth, the magnetic shield, or something, I don't know, some scientists might know what actually is going on physically, but energetically I feel it as a thinning of the veil, if you like, being able to be aware more of different dimensions. And so at this time, what we can do is stop and really think about what it is we want to do. I personally, probably from late last year, found that the things that I were passionate about suddenly no longer gave me that feedback that I used to get from them. And I actually took a step back from certain things and thinking, is this really who I am now? Just taking a breathing space, having a look, having a feel into who I am now. And I do get a sense of much more, it's a sense of adventure, actually. It's a sense of being able to achieve much more, having access to much, much more of who I really am. And that's what I want to say, really. That's what life is all about. It's about remembering who you really are, of accessing those parts of you that are beyond limitations, beyond human limitations, knowing and understanding that we are possible, that it's possible for us to do and achieve anything we really want. You are a part of God, of Source. You are a reflection of God or Source. And that's a pretty amazing thing to be, no matter how challenging life on this wonderful planet gets. Just remember that, and hopefully that might help you to cope with any difficulties that come your way. So that's it for now. That's my understanding of the soul and its journey. For now, I might change or evolve that later, but I hope you've enjoyed this explanation. Thanks for watching.